So we're going to go weiter on Yadalim and Aleph, a brand new sugya. The Gemara says, Mishnah says, Arufas Egla. The halacha is pertaining to a situation where a halal, a dead person, is found, and you're not sure who the murderer is. So the halacha is that Bezdin has to get involved and judge which city is responsible, and then a procedure on the by the area of the spring, an animal is killed at that point, and that achieves kapara for that area. So there is a whole procedure of the Egla Arufa process. Not only the procedure of the actual Egla Arufa, which is the kapara, the carbon, let's call it, not really a classic carbon, but the medium towards kapara, but the judgment, the proximity, which area is responsible, which area is not. There's measurements that's going to be involved. There are a lot of different stages to decide, even before to delineate which city is responsible to take care of this person that died in close proximity or was killed in close proximity. So the Gemara says Arifas Egla b'shloisha. So that's the Mishnah. The Gemara says on that, the bottom of Yudal and Aleph, by the two dots, Tanar Rabbanan, v'yotzu zichenecha v'shoftecha zikenecha shnayim shoftecha shnayim v'in bezdin shako mosifon aleon echad harikan chamisha div Rabbi Yehuda. So a similar Gemara that we've seen in other cases, that Rabbi Yehuda has a different drasha, and Rabbi Yehuda comes to the conclusion that it's 5. Anytime we see this concept of Ein Bezdin Shakol, we should always remind ourselves of Tosas and Yavamis, that Tosas and Yavamis has 2 dayas, whether or not Ein Bezdin Shakol, does that mean that there's some potential debate that the Dayanim could argue in this scenario, and therefore we need to tip the scales and make sure that there's an odd Bezdin. And the Rishonim, the Ad Ramah over here, as he does in all the different sugyas that we had, the concept of Ein Bezdin Shakol, explains the possible debates that could exist. There's a machlokes where to measure from. Do you measure from the neck or do you measure from the nostrils? Where do you measure from on the body? So they could be arguing about that. The Dayanim are discussing about that. Many different debates that is possible to need a Bezdin Shakol. Or Tosfos in the second day in Yavamis, a fundamentally different daya, says no, in Bezdin Shakol is a halacha in Bezdin. You need an odd number of Dayanim, even if there's no debate possible, which connects back all the way back to our discussion by Hataras Nadarim that we've spoken about many times, whether or not you can have a Bezdin of 10 Dayanim, like the story that I had in Florida, that when the Lubavitchers wanted 10 Dayanim for the Hataras Nadarim, would be totally on those 2 days. Is that halacha in Bezdin, or is it halacha in Hachra? Good. So the Gemara says, Reb Shimon Omer, Zekenecha Shnayim. No, Zekenecha Shnayim, Ve'em Bezdin Shokol, was even Olein Echad. Only 3. Just Zekenecha. So the Gemara asks, Reb Shimon, Hai Shoftecha Mayavidlei. So Reb Shimon has someone explaining to do. Reb Shimon ignores one of the drushes that Rabbi Yehuda uses. So the Gemara says, no, that is to tell me that this is not just any 3. Says Rashi, Shumizikte Sanhedrin Gedola. These 3 have to be 3 of the Sanhedrin Gedola. Again, this is Reb Chaim Brisker's raya, that the Sanhedrin Gedola is a license. Sanhedrin Gedola is an identification card. It's something that exists even if you're not acting as one of the 71 Dayanim, and the 71 Dayanim are not actually paskening a halacha of the 71 Dayanim. We're walking around with a license that we have an identification that we represent the Sanhedrin Gedola, and therefore we can identify as that in other areas that don't require 71 Dayanim. Rabbi Yehuda miziknei zikenecha nafka. So Rabbi Yehuda learns that it has to be from the Sanhedrin Gedola from a different drasha, ziknei zikenecha. Rabbi Shimon imi ziknei, if it would be from that drasha, havamina ziknei ashuk, kasar achmana zikenecha. So says Rabbi Yehuda, if it would say ziknei, so you would think any's kanim. So therefore it says zikenecha. Zikenecha, and if it would only say zikenecha, havamina Sanhedrin Ktana. I would think Sanhedrin Ktana and not Sanhedrin Gdola, kasar achmana v'shoftecha. So that's why the Torah says both Zikenecha and shoftecha. To say miyuchadim shebeshoftecha. Good. Just in a little explanation, why would you think it's the Sanhedrin Ketana? What does this have anything to do with the Sanhedrin Ketana? So the answer is because at the end of the day, this is Dinei Nefashos. This is someone died over here, so that's why I would think Sanhedrin Ketana would be my first obvious stop to need a certain level of a zaken. Rabbi Yehuda Gomer mi ziknei mi v'samchu ziknei edem es yadeim mala halon miyuchadim shbeida afkan miyuchadim shebezikenecha. No, Rabbi Yehuda says, no, I wouldn't have gotten trapped in that issue because I would have had a gzeira shava. Just like when it comes to what smicha, you need miyuchadim shebeida. So too over here, when it's Arufa sag Egla, there would be a gzeira shava. So I would need what? I would need miyuchadim shebeida from the Sanhedrin Gedolah. So the Gemara says, I alif leilif kula mehasa. So I don't understand. If you're learning from smicha, what is Rabbi Yehuda's opinion when it comes to smicha? So this is the Gemara. Rashi says the Gemara le'el on Yud Gemom Beis, the Gemara on the Amud before. Tanar banu v'samchu ziknei yachol ziknei ashuk. Tamla Eida, what's Sagdu Shnayim, Ziknei Shnayim, Yemez the Shagmos, even Olay Echad, Harikan Chamisha, Rabbi Yehuda. The smicha of the Paralam Davar, which is where Rabbi Yehuda is learning Gzeira Shava from, and those had to be what? The Miyuchadim Shebeida, and that's why I don't need to learn it from Shoftecha, but I'm learning it from a Gzeira Shava of Ziknei, just like by Smicha's Paralam Davar it says Ziknei. So too over here, when it says Ziknei, it obviously means the Ayin Aleph, and therefore I don't need Rabbi Yehuda's drasha of Shoftecha. So ask the Gemara, if you have a Gzeira Shava, so then why don't you learn everything from there? Paralam Davar Shel Tzibur, you also said it was 5 Dayanim. Should just learn the number from there as well, and you don't need any drashas over here. If you have such a good Gzeira Shava, Ligmar Kula Mehosam, let that be the source for your number of the Dayanim as well, ask the Gemara. If you're saying that Rabbi Yehuda is wrong and it's not Miyuchadim Shebeshoftecha, but rather it's to learn out a number, why isn't the Gzeira Shava satisfactory to learn out the number as well? Your proof seems to kill your whole pshat. So the Gemara says, why do I need 2 psukim in the pasuk of Egla Arufa? So the Gemara rejects everything it suggested. The Gemara says you're 100% right. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda learns Zikenecha and Shoftechas to teach you that you need 4 and Ein Bezdin Shalkom Mosif and Olei Echad. The Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon says, no, I don't like that drasha. Shoftechas to teach you the criteria, the type, the quality of the Dayanim has to be Miyuchadim Shebeshoftecha, has to be the Sanhedrin of Ayin Aleph. Rabbi Yehuda says back, no, I have another drasha Sanhedrin Ayin Aleph, because I can learn a Gzeira Shava of Ziknei from the Smicha of Paralam Davar Shel Tzibur, that I said on Yud Gimel Beis needs to be the Sanhedrin Gedolah. Says the Gemara, such a good drasha, why do you need Ziknech and Shoftecha anymore to be a source of numbers? Just learn it from a Gzeira Shava that just like over there was 5, and qualified individuals of the Sanhedrin Ayin Aleph, so too over here it's 5, and qualified individuals. So the Gemara says you're right. Elavav v'shoftecha liminyana. You're right. How does Rabbi Yehuda know that it has to be qualified individuals, not from Gzeira Shava? Because that got me into trouble, says the Gemara. You have to be chayzer. Rather, how is he darshaning another set of 2 to make 5? Is he learns a vav. Vav is he darshans the vav. Elavav v'shotech liminyana. Rabbi Shimon vav lo darish, and Rabbi Shimon doesn't darshan the vav, so therefore he's stuck with 2. Ve'im bezdin shalkom mosif and only an echad. So the Tosfos here points out that in the bottom Tosfos that it's not accurate that Rabbi Shimon never darshans vav. It's and some of the Mefarshim point out that the Gemara just says here he was lo darish, but it's not that Rabbi Shimon has a klal that vav lo mashmalei. The Gemara could have said vav lo mashmalei. What does vav tell me? No, Rabbi Shimon in other areas of Shas, as Tosfos points out, does darshan a vav, but Rabbi Shimon over here doesn't darshan the vav for whatever reason. So it's not necessarily a global machlokas Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon about darshaning vav. Sometimes you have Rabbi Yehuda not darshaning vav, and sometimes you have Rabbi Shimon darshaning a vav. So that's not but it all came down to whether or not over here the vav was darshan. Elameata asked the Gemara 2 lines from the bottom. V'yatzu shnayim umadadu shnayim l'Rabbi Yehuda harei tisha l'Rabbi Shimon Shiva. Says the Gemara, 1 second, you are not counting all the verbs in the pasuk. The verbs in the pasuk, if you're actually reading carefully, would add up to an entirely different number. 4 more for Rabbi Yehuda and 4 more for Rabbi Shimon. And it would mean 9 or 7, and that's not accurate. So why don't you darshan v'yatzu and umadadu? The yatzu that the zkenim, that the Sanhedrin has to go out. They have to schlep out of the Lishkas HaGazis and go out to this town where this Nebuch, this crime scene is being, the yellow tape. But mamish, what's going on? The yellow tape, do not pass beyond here unless you're FBI. So over here, unless you're the Sanhedrin Gedolah, you cannot come into the crime scene because they're v'yatzu and umadadu, and they have to measure. So why aren't we darshaning all those to add to the numbers of the Dayanim if the verbs are adding to the numbers? So the Gemara, no, it's a very different drasha. Hahumi boyle lechadisanya v'yatzu hein v'lo shluchan umadadu shafilu nimtza ba'alil le'ir tzarech la'asoik b'medida. Rashi says the Yatsu is darshaning what? That they have to go out and they can't send a messenger. And Umadadu is darshaning what? That Rashi says, "B'mefursim lakol shekarov hula'ir zu mikol ayaros." Even if it looks clear that it's coming from this city as opposed to any other cities, still they should do the medida. They should do the measurement. So what's the Gemara's answer? The Gemara's answer is we have already other drushas from the Yatsu and Umadadu, and therefore that didn't now add to the number of the Dayanim. So we're back to our number 3 according to Rabbi Shimon, and we're back to our number 5 according to Rabbi Yehuda. There are no additional drushas. What's interesting is that the Minchas Chinuch, commenting on this Gemara, read this Gemara very literally. The Gemara says, V'yatzu, before we get to the Minchas Chinuch, let's go back to the first phrase of the Gemara. Let's go in order. V'arifas Egla begimel. So, what does that mean? Arifas Egla begimel. If we really literally translate the Gemara, that would mean that what? The actual Egla Arufa, the actual killing of that animal, has to be either with 3 Dayanim or with 5 Dayanim from the Miyuchadim Shebeshoftecha, from the Sanhedrin Gedolah. That's the way I would have learned the Gemara. That's what the Mishnah is talking about. Arifas Egla, that's the title of our shir. Comes along Tosos, the Ran, and all of the Rishonim, and say we got it all wrong. We titled the shir wrong. Says Tosos, V'arifas Egla, Arifa lav dafka, tap Tosos. Oh, Arifa lav dafka. The medida hu dahavya begimel. The measurement is with these 3 dayanim. Kedisnan beperak Egla Arufa. Gimel mi bezdin agodosh b'shrayim hayoyotzin. V'hodar ktani, and then the Mishnah in Saita says, Nifteru ziknei Yerushalayim, v'holchu ziknei oisei ha'ir u'mevi'en Egla Arufa, v'hasam like tani gimel. Says Tosos, and I'll tell you that it's a proof to what I'm saying. Because actually, Tosos says, the Sanhedrin Gedolah and the people that are coming from the Lishkas HaGazis are not the ones who actually bring the Egla Arufa. It's the Sanhedrin Tana of that year that is now responsible to actually take care of the Kapara and bring the Egla Arufa.
Otherwise, why you want
What?
Otherwise, why you have to measure?
No, but I'm just saying, okay, you would have to measure, but if originally my initial reaction to this Gemara was that the Sanhedrin Gedolah was also the ones bringing the Egla Arufa. That was the debate between the 3 and the 5. Who is bringing...
Who is actually...
Not the measurement. In addition to the measurement, I thought for sure it's at least the bringing of the Egla Arufa. Says Tosos, no, Egla Arufa here is just a title. But really, we only need the Sanhedrin Gedolah for the Medida aspect. But for the actual Egla Arufa, that was shipped off. The responsibility was to that year, once you deciphered which city the person who was murdered actually came from and where it happened. However, if you look at the Rambam, it doesn't seem to be that the Rambam learned like that. This Rambam is in the Rambam in Sanhedrin, which is not the one with Perek Chi, the other side. Sanhedrin, Perek Hey, Halacha Hey. Says the Rambam, Arifas, Halacha Hey, Arifas Egla b'chamisha. Clearly the Rambam learned what? The Rambam learned that our Gemara was literally ala Arifas Egla. The Rambam learned that we're debating, and Reb Shimon and Rabbanan are actually debating how many dayanim are needed from the Sanhedrin Gedola for the actual Arifas Egla. If the Rambam held like Taisus, the Rambam should say that. So if the Arifas Egla is needing 5, like the Rambam's paskening like Rabbi Yehuda, which is also interesting, not like Rabbi Shimon. So how much do you need for Medida? Ram doesn't tell us. Comes along the Radvaz, and you'll have to believe me on this because it's a little fuzzy in Halacha Hey. The Radvaz, it's about halfway down the Radvaz. The Radvaz says, "V'afal gav de legabe Medidas hachalol boi kol Sanhedri Gdola." The Rambam not only disagrees with Tosfos, the Rambam holds, and for Medida, you want to know how much you need for Medida? You need to schlep out every one of the 71 dayanim, at least according to the Radvaz. That's an unbelievable machlokes. Not only can you not have messengers here, but the Rambam holds for the measurement part, I don't have any Gemara that sells elsewhere, right? Only the debate in the Gemara is by the Arifas Egla, but the fact that there's no debate when it comes to the Medida, the measurement, says the Rambam, that obviously means you need everyone. It's all 71. You don't need miyuchadim shebeshoftecha. There's no special license over here, identification card. It's a halacha that's totally in Bezdin. We go back to the regular rules of Bezdin, and you schlep all 71 out for the measurement. Wow. Unbelievable. What? Sanhedrin. No, Hil Sanhedrin. We got to Arufa. Yeah? To get them all. How do they measure on? How do you measure with 71 Jews? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how you got a psak of a bezdin either. Right. It's true. I mean, I guess it was. If you're saying it's the actual medida that has to be done. I mean, in most cases, it probably was clear. There was saying you couldn't argue with facts. We took the measurements out. We took the tape measure, and everyone was showing, and we all see it. One guy's doing it. Yeah, one guy's pulling. I would assume so. Yeah, I don't know. Right. I don't think they all have to hold it together. It's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know, but I would imagine that not everyone has to hold on to the rope. But that would be fascinating if that was the case. Okay, so that's just a technical machlokes, just in the way the Rambam quotes our halacha. But really, the pashtus of the Gemara does sound like that. But then, if you go further, based on the halachas that we just said before, it comes along the Minchas Chinuch, and the Minchas Chinuch says, so the Gemara got out of 7 and 9 in the last line, that v'yatzu, the Sanhedrin Gedola v'yatzu, hein v'lo shlucha. They can't send a messenger out to go out. They need to go out themselves. But says the Minchas Chinuch, what about Madadu? It's not for the Chashuv Rabbanim in long coats and long beards to measure. So therefore, says the Minchas Chinuch, the Gemara never said hein v'lo shluchan when it comes to Umadadu. So therefore, says the Minchas Chinuch, you could have a Bezdin's assistant or rabbinic intern for the Bezdin Hagadol to do the Medida. It's not appropriate. But the other Rishonim, the Meiri writes beferish, no, just like the Gemara says, v'yatzu is hein v'lo shluchan, so that's also including the purpose for them to be yotzei, which is the Medida. The Medida is the tachlis of the Yitzia, and therefore the drasha is hein v'lo shluchan. I'd like to talk about that for a second. Possibly explain what that debate is all about, and why they are debating this halacha. Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something. I mean, the pasuk that the Gemara is talking about has two verbs in Yatsu and Umadadu. So presumably, the whole discussion of the Gemara is referring to the Yatsu and Umadadu.
Right.
Right? So Yatsu is vague, Umadadu is not vague.
Right.
So presumably, the discussion would be on Umadadu as well. So I don't understand why the Rambam Shita is saying, no, this whole discussion has nothing to do with Umadadu at all. Like what? How do you
No. The Ram is talking about the beginning of the Gemara. Zikenecha and Sheftecha. Then the Gemara asks the Kasha, but also in that parsha, you have Yatsu Madu, and the Gemara says,
No, forget about what else. I mean, also in that pasuk. I mean, the pasuk says that. So, so basically.
yeah, but Lamaisa, we're not using those psukim.
No, I'm saying you don't have to be dorish the word of madadu. The word is in the pasuk. It's in the context of the pasuk. Meaning
Right.
you're learning these things as to how many you need. What's the context of that? Madadu. That's the next word of the pasuk.
No. The context is the parsha of Egla Arufa.
Yeah.
That's the context of the sugya. Then the Gemara says, oh, and in one of the verbs used in that parsha of Egla Arufa is umadadu, so why aren't you adding that on? So the Gemara says, no, that was to teach something else.
No, not to add on to say you need additional diana, but to say what.
That was the Gemara's kasha.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying what is the context of the pasuk? The pasuk is the measuring. That's the context. So now you're learning how many you need from two and then shuffle five. I'm saying, but what's that in reference to? That's.
I mean, the pasuk goes on and talks about the chiv of the hakrav of the Egla Arufa as well.
That's the next pasuk. That's not this. I mean, in this pasuk.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on in this pasuk. So
Well, what are the other things going on in the pasuk?
the hakrav of the Egla Arufa.
No. I mean, that's not this pasuk. I mean, that's not.
So you're asking, how could the Rambam learn it as Egla Arufa?
I'm saying you have two ways to read this. I'm saying Tosafos' way seems like pshat in the pasuk.
But even Tosis didn't prove it from the psukim.
Because I don't know. I just look at this pasuk.
Yeah, I think Chazal understood that when there are the Gemara, the Torah says dayanim in a context of a parsha, and the parsha is learnt out for a certain din. So what do you need a bezdin for? What do you need dayanim for? So Tosis says you need it for medida. Tosis says you need that for medida, and for that actual Egla Arufa, that's something else. That's someone else is going to take care of it. The Ram says no. That those words and those psukim, those drushas are sources for the actual Egla Arufa itself. That's what the part. Meaning that's one of the contexts of the psukim as well. I don't know if I understand what you're saying, but the kasha is that one really has to analyze what is this drasha hein v'lo shlucha. What is the nature? What is the nature of this drasha? Suddenly, the first time in Sanhedrin, we have a drasha that, by the way, we have a drasha for Bezdin, and it shouldn't be their shliach. Like, well, of course it shouldn't be their shliach. Like, we need Bezdin, and we need whatever qualifies as Bezdin. We need the Bezdin Agadol. So Avad, the shliach's not going to qualify for what we need. What? Suddenly we need to darshan. And it means them and not the shliach. Obviously, that's what we're getting over here. That's what we're getting. So the yatsav v'lo shluchim. Well, of course, that's the halacha that they're necessary for. What is this drasha that suddenly the Chazal have to tell us v'yatsu v'lo shluchim? It's like it seems anti-Sanhedrindic. It seems like what's the havamina that shluchim could work by the parsha of Egla Arufa and by the medida of Egla Arufa? Of course it's Na'im below Shluchan. You think you could just get the janitor to take care of this business for you? We have drushas over here that now are taking care of it.
The function of the basin is to paskin.
Right.
The medida is just data gather.
Oh.
Why can't that be anything?
Oh. Excellent. That's exactly where I wanted to go. So I want to introduce the following issue. There is a Taisis Rid, a very, very famous Taisis Rid. That's a very Yisaitistic Taisis Rid in the world of Lomdus that asks a very, very important question. We have a concept of Shlucha Shaladim Kamosa. Ask the Taisis Rid. Yesh Makshin.
Where is that? This is
In Kedushin Membezim and Beis. Yesh Makshin. Imkain. If there's a concept of Shlichus, it's on the second Xerox, on the first side. Reish Pei Beis. Actually, Reish Pei Aleph, I'm sorry. Yesh Makshin. There are those that ask. Imkain L'chol Dvar Mitzvah. You ever ask this question? Jerome, you have the Shlichus Shalom and Komoso. We have psukim for Shlichus Shalom and Komoso. Why can't you point the shliach to put tefillin on for you tomorrow? You can't make it. You have an appointment earlier. So Shlichus Shalom and Komoso. You can have a guy marry a woman for you. You can have a guy mafresh truma for you. You can have a guy be makriv a carbon pesach for you. So why can't you have a guy put on tefillin for you? Why can't you have a guy, if you have to go to a carnival in Yehopitzville on Sukkot, he should go into the sukkah for you? Why not? Shluch shalom kamoso. What's the problem? Zok the Taisus Rid. Ish makshimim kein l'chol dvar mitzvah yol hashliach. B'yomer odem l'chaveru shev b'sukkah ba'avuri. Hanach tefillin ba'avuri. Do it on my behalf. V'lav milsihi. Sha'mitzvah shechivu amokom lasos begufo. Heyachi potter hu al yedei shlucho v'hu lo yaseklo. Bevadai begerishnu bekedushin mahani. Ki hu amegarish v'lo ashliach. Shema shekosav beget ana ploni patarts plonis v'cheinam ya'ish lemiyu mukadeshes ki im lo v'hi ishto. V'chein truma hu nosin atar miperusav. V'chein pesach hu ochlo v'al shmo yishach v'yizarek adam. Ava besukkah hachanami yachol loimer shlucho ase l'sukkah v'hu yoshev ba. Avalim yasher b'chavero lo kiyim hu klum. V'chein lula v'tzitzis v'chol hamitzvus. Now that says the Taisus Rid. There is something called mitzvus shebegufo. Mitzvus shebegufo, there is no shlichus. That's bekitzer what the Taisus Rid says. Now, the last two words of this Taisus Rid have a lot of ramifications. V'chol hamitzvus. Okay, what does that mean, v'chol hamitzvus? How far does that extend to v'chol hamitzvus? A lot of the list that he said that do include shlichus are mitzvahs. Pesach's a mitzvah. Truma's a mitzvah. Why is that not the same as his v'chol hamitzvus? What exactly is the divide and the situation where the Taisus Rid is saying there is no shlichus when it comes to mitzvahs, and there is shlichus when it comes to get, karbonis, truma? What is the Taisus Rid driving at? So clearly the Taisus Rid said, shechive amakom lasos begufo. So there is a K'tzais HaChoshen. At the K'tzais HaChoshen, the K'tzais HaChoshen makes this Taisus Rid very famous. And the K'tzais HaChoshen wanted to defend a psak of the Shach. That the Shach is of the opinion that a father, it's really nogea to this week's parasha, that a father does not have the ability to be mamane a shliach to be mal his son. That's the Shach. The Shach argues on the Ramah, and the Ramah says, like we do, we always tell the Moel, please be my shliach in my mitzvah of Avram Avinu, this week's parasha, being mal his son Yitzchak, and the Shach says that there is no shlichus. But the Shach doesn't explain why there's no shlichus. So says the K'tzais HaChoshen in Siman Shin Pei Beis, he says, because it's a mitzvah shebegufo like the Taisus Rid. Like the Taisus Rid. That's what the K'tzais HaChoshen says. Now, I remember, this was years ago, it must have been 15 years ago. I remember I was sitting in Rav Shechler's here, and we were talking about this, and he was arguing with me about this very point. And we went, it was a long time. It went after Shir, we were arguing. And now I chapped so I was saying this K'tzais HaChoshen over, that any time the Torah was makbid, that you should be the Osa HaMaisa, that you should be the active party, the one who does the mitzvah, that's also what the Taisus Rid meant, that it's a mitzvah shebegufo. And Rabbi Shechter was saying back to me, and Rabbi Shechter was saying, no, a mitzvah shebegufo means, what's the other pshat in the Taisus Rid? Mitzvah shebegufo means you can't put tefillin on for me because the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted what? Not that you wanted you to be the Bala Maisa, you to be the active party, but rather he wanted what? The tefillin to sit on your rosh. The tefillin to sit on your body. Mitzvah literally. Shebegufo, it's sitting on you. So therefore, Rav Shechter said, it doesn't make sense to apply it to Mila. That can't be the pshat in Mila. And then I realized years later, we were going, mamish, back and forth. No, it means even outside of where it's applicable to your actual body. It means where the Torah wanted you to be active. The Torah says you should do it and not he should do it. So therefore it's a hafka and shlichus also. And that's the pshat in the Shach, says the K'tzais in Siman Shin Pei Beis to defend it. Then I realize
the Ktsos himself has this contradiction, and is Soser himself these two debates. In Siman Kuf Pei Beis, the Ktsos quotes our Tosis Rid, and he says exactly like Rabbi Shechter. He says, you know what it means to be mitzvah shebegufo as opposed to all other areas that shlichus is applicable? It means a mitzvah that's on your guf. And therefore it's not applicable to Mila, and has nothing to do with our parsha, and it's not a defense of the shach, that you can't be mamana a shliach to do a maisa Mila. But what? In Shin Pei Beis, the Ktsos contradicts himself, and he says that other pshat, and he says that no, certain times, certain mitzvahs, when the Tosas Rid, the Ktsos says, V'chol ha-mitzvahs, those last two words, what he was trying to say is not just mitzvahs that are on your guf, but any mitzvah that the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted you to be the person who's active as opposed to someone else who's being active. So if you take that other Ktsos and you understand that there are certain mitzvahs, not only mitzvahs that are resting on your body, but certain mitzvahs that the Rebbeinu Shalom said, you have to do it. The mitzvah itself is to be active, is to be involved. That's what a mitzvah, that's part of the definition of what a mitzvah shebegufo is. The Rebbeinu Shalom wanted that the father should be mal. Okay, Lamaisa, we paskin like the Ramah, and even if we didn't paskin like the Ramah, there's no eitzah to do like the shach. The shach was obviously talking to a person. I remember I told my brother, who was a surgeon, I said, according to the shach, you have to do the milah. I remember when he had his son, you have to do the milah because this is your mitzvah according to the chumrah of the shach. We don't paskin like that. The minhag ha'olam is not like that, but it's obviously only relevant to a person who knows how to do a milah or has the capability to do a milah. Otherwise, there's no options. But when a father has the opportunity, so says the shach, you shouldn't be mamana shliach because, says the Ktsos, in defense of the shach, perhaps the Tosas Rid's analysis of mitzvah shebegufa would even apply to mitzvah shebemilah. Under that line of reasoning, perhaps, that's also the suggestion over here as well. Perhaps the Gemara is not only just telling us a hechi timtza, and just, by the way, just remember, shluchas doesn't apply over here. Shlichus doesn't apply over here. This is magdir, the nature of what Medida is. Medida is not collecting data. Medida is not a hechitimtza to figure out where the ear is. Medida is a hisaskus of the Bezdin, of the Yotzu, to make sure to be involved in this issue, in this crime scene. We have to make a commotion about this. We have to stand up and we have to go out of our comfort zone, out of our lishkas agazis, out of here, and we have to be the active party to be moided and mamish make a hak in Klal Yisrael. And that's exactly what the Gemara is telling us. V'yotzu hein v'loy shluchon, and the Meiri says, and that's part and parcel of the Medida. Medida also is lo v'lo shluchon. Because the Yitzia and the Medida is what? Is bedafka that Bezdin HaGodol have to be there. Because it's not just a hechsher. It's not just a hechitimtza. And what's the raya? What's the proof that this is not just a hechitimtza, that there's another goal of the Medida? Read the next line of the Gemara. Sha'afilu nimtza ba'alil le'ir tzarech laseis b'Medina. Tzarech laseis b'Medina. Even if, says Rashi, it's Yodua, it's Mefursam, the guy is sitting a block away from the closest city. We know it's not near Tel Aviv for another how many miles. Yet what? Bezdin has to come out. Bezdin has to do the Medina. They have to schlep out. Nimtza ba'alil. Why? You know why? Tzarech lasoik b'Medida. The asik of Medida is what's going to accomplish. Listen to the chinuch. Listen to the chinuch when he talks about the purpose of this halach. Mishor she'ha mitzvah. Kidei she'yis'orer leiv kol ha'am bir oisam es ha'maisa ha'godol hazeh. Asifa ziknei ha'ir gdoilea. V'yikchu para she'behem gdoile v'yelchu ba'asifa u'ba'amon she'akol chafetzim lirois. Everyone's going to be watching. Matzav, everything, all the media. Look where the gedolim, the tzaddikim, they're going out to do. Elel michutz la'ir u'lekol arifasa yichrudu kol hashomim. We want a hak. We want that it should create a commotion. V'yis'oyer rayonon al hadovar. וכל הידע בדבר מיד ימה לבבו וטהר מחשבוסו להגיד משהו יודע לפני הזקנים. And anyone who has any evidence, anyone who knows about it, it's going to come out. We're going to get the facts now. מתוך כך יברו הרום והרוצו מקרבון. And therefore, number one, we're going to figure out who's responsible. ומלבד הידיעה, יש תועלת רב במעשה הגדול הזה להרוס ולפרסם בהמון. Says the chinuch, and even without finding out who's responsible criminally, there's a toyeles that this should happen in public. Pirsum agodol, ki chafetz hazkenim va'anshe adas yiyu limtza retzeach linkom yimenu nimkas hanirtzach. Kain v'chein matzas ilarabim. They're demonstrating to everyone that what we are interested in taking care of justice and finding out who's responsible, and we're not just going to be lazy about this, and we're not just going to sit back about this.
Otherwise, there was no Egla. I think that's the core of the mitzvah.
What do you mean?
Meaning, why would you do an Egla Arufa? Why would you do all, again, what you said, why would you do all of this commotion?
So the commotion, we're not talking about the Egla Arufa, we're talking about,
I'm talking about
the Medida
I'm talking the entire,
is
the
not
entire
just
process.
to collect data, but it's a
everything.
tachlis on its own.
Yeah.
And the raya is that the Gemara is telling you, even when you have the facts and you know it already, still to do it. Mitzvah lasik b'medida, and what? That's where it's appropriate for the Gemara to have a drasha to tell me, hein v'lo shluchon. Because you would have thought that maybe there would be a tzad shlichus over here. It should be under the auspices of Bezdin HaGadol. We should authorize the jeep that goes out there and judges. No. Azat toisis rid. It's a mitzvah shebagufo. It's a mitzvah that they should be involved. Shlichus doesn't apply over here. V'chein l'chol ha-mitzvahs. A mitzvah that the Rebbeinu Shalom wants bedafka you to be involved with. Kein l'ktzos ha-choshen saying that by Mila he wants your hisaskus involved. He wants certain times he wants you to do the maisa. For whatever reason over here, we want Bezdin to get their hands dirty. We want Bezdin to get involved. And for Haraya, even if we have the facts, we want Bezdin to be involved. In Cain, that number one explains why the Meiri, the Pshat and the Meiri, that the Yitzia and the Medida is also Hein V'lo Shluchon, wasn't Dafka the Yitzia. And it also answers why suddenly here we have a drasha about what? Hein V'lo Shluchon, the first time in the whole Sanhedrin, suddenly we have a Havamina, and that's what the Gemara is telling you, because it fits with the whole flow of the Gemara of Hein V'lo Shluchon is Afilu Nimtza Ba'alil, and it fits with the Sefer HaChinuch telling us there's a whole new tachlis here, and not just collect data, and perhaps it's exactly what the Tosfos Rid is saying, that there are certain mitzvahs that we want the Bezdin themselves to be the Bala Mitzvah over here, to be the people that are Oisik in the Mitzvah, and the Yitzia and the Medida are actually connected. One more thing, give me one more second, Abe. One more thing that you answer with this question. The Rambam never brings down this halacha of Hein V'lo Shluchon. The Gemara says it over here. The Rambam never brings this down. So the Pri Chodesh points out it's not a kasha on the Rambam, because this is just a giloi on what the nature of the mitzvah is. Yitzia and Medida, Hein V'lo Shluchon is just magdir to us that we meant what we meant. That this is the Egla Arufa. So Memela, the fact that the Gemara was just, according to what we're saying right now, the Gemara was just saying, don't think that this is just collecting data, but rather what? What it means is that they should actually be moeded. Okay, now the Gemara told us, the Gemara has to tell us, Hein V'lo Shluchon. But once you know what the nature of the halacha is, once you know that we're in business, that the Bezdin, and the Ram tells us the Bezdin should be moeded, and we understand that this is just being magdir, what Medida is, so the Rambam doesn't even have to tell us that it's Hein V'lo Shluchon, it's Pasha. Yeah.
It's not a masa based, but it requires based.
It's not a
masa based.
It's not a deliberation of Bezdin, right? Exactly. Right.
It requires the actual base.
Exactly. It's like similar to what I'm trying to say in the Tosfos Rid. It's ke'ein a mitzvah shebegufo that's not on the guf, but that the Bezdin themselves have a mitzvah to be involved and to be mamish like it really is the lashon of the Gemara. Tzarich la'asoik b'medida. They have to have an asek in the Medida. Even if it's not necessarily because of the data, because of the outcome, because of what we're going to find out, but this is a mitzvah that's going to have a to'eles, and that's why specifically over here, we're going to highlight that shlucha shaladam kamoso will not apply. Because Bezdin has to go out there, and Bezdin has to go and be involved in this ma'aseh, even if it's not for the information. Yeah.
I think it doesn't even mean that if the Dayanim themselves are not the experts of Medida,
I do not think that they could rely on anyone else, right?
Doesn't mean that they wouldn't
Because
have
that wouldn't create that pearson.
Doesn't mean they wouldn't have shluchim present also that would do the medida expertly, but they have to be present at that.
I think so. Or they have to actually do the medida. The pashtus is they have to do the medida. You have to know what, meaning when someone else is pulling, it's kind of like what Maury was asking before. When someone else is pulling the tape measure and I see the numbers, is that not my medida? I think,
I think it is.
I think it's also my medida. I have to be involved in the medida process. This is something that we require Bezdin, that they should be involved, and there's this is ultimately going to make a rosham on all Klal Yisrael of Bezdin's search for justice. Yeah, Yeshakayach.